joining us. So we are going to dive right into Al Allen's book. It's extremely unconventional in the way he wrote it, but it's very characteristic of his communication style as a veteran journalist. So Al, please start by telling us why you called your book We're Standing By.
You know, the young lady who was up here just said it. If you do live shots, and we do live shots, I was doing live shots every half hour, at the bottom and the top of the hour, from 4 o'clock in the morning to 9 o'clock in the morning. Then we come back at 11 o'clock and do another live shot. We sit there because what's going to happen, they do a series of checks. Let's get an audio check. Let's get a camera check. It gets this check. And sure as you are black, something will go wrong 25 seconds before your live shot. Everybody starts cussing. We don't see the picture. We don't have audio. And then when the time comes, you're standing right there ready to go. But this was a consistent phrase. We're standing by. And I have done things whereas it's, Al, we don't see you. I said, no, you're not going to see me. I'm going to say it, and you'll see what we're talking about, because I couldn't get in front of the camera in time. Scares the producer half to death. You can't be doing that. And I got my earpiece like, yes, I can. But we always made it. But we're standing by is their standard phrase that we say at all the TV stations across the country, including the networks, because you have to have that 2-minute warning. Now, tell you another switch to that. When it gets cold outside, and we all know how Michigan winters are, I tell the producer, as we're walking out the door, we're not doing 2 minutes. It's too cold. We're doing 30 seconds. And they were like, what the hell are you talking about? I said, well, we're in charge. So we do what the photographers did that they didn't know. They have the camera already set up and warmed up inside the truck. They run through the checks inside the truck. So when we go outside and stand in front of the camera 30 seconds, we are obviously set. And the producers are happy then. But I told them when it's 10 degrees or 5 degrees below zero, I am not going to have nobody standing out there like that, especially me, all right? And we always say what you had and you don't see it. My nose would run, my eyes would water, but I always carry 2 handkerchiefs because you're going to fill them up before you leave that day, all right? So you never saw or heard that going on camera. But that's what We're Standing By is all about.
I love it. So Al, tell us, what story do viewers remember most about your reporting at Fox 2 Detroit?
There's a chapter in the book that says, colder than a well digger's ass in Montana. And all the stories we have done, you've done thousands, I have done thousands, but people only remember one around here. You stand out there in the cold, the snow is blowing in your face. Why don't they put somebody else out there? You're too old to be doing that. You're too old to, but it was, it's in the book, there's a story behind it. It was a marketing tool. If people were upset and they would call the station, as soon as we get that cold weather, and the producer yelled me here, oh, you goddamn viewers are calling already. You're talking about how come you guys sitting out there and said, you know what, your ass ain't out here, so what you worry about? But they all remember standing in over an overpass, snowing, blowing, 15 degrees below zero. They all remember that. They don't remember anything else we've done. And it was colder than a well digger's ass in Montana. We'd be dressed in layers so much, we really couldn't move, okay? But that's what they always remember. Nothing else but being out in the snow over the overpass over the freeway. It's in the book.
Yeah.
It is in the book.
And the picture on the cover, his nose is pink because he's cold.
It's cold. It sure is.
So Al, what's your signature quote that appears throughout the book, and what does it mean?
You know, it's a matter of coincidence, but you always say you're being at the wrong place at the wrong time. I was always at the right place at the wrong time. And for some reason, I was. I was born in Little Rock, Arkansas. There was, and I know many of you don't remember this, the Little Rock Nine, who integrated Central High School. Ernest Green was the oldest of the 9. He just happened to live across the street from me. and I would see the military, trucks, jeeps, pick them up to take them to Central High School. There was a lot of violence on our street. His mother was my fourth grade teacher. So there's an example of being at the right place at the wrong time. My grandfather, at that time in Little Rock, black folks couldn't vote. But if you paid a poll tax, you could vote if you're black. We're in line at the fire station. I must have been about 6 or 7 years old. Inquisitive, curious me, looking and says, well, how come these only black men standing here? How come these other folks are, you know? And then I saw him pay, and I said, Bookie, I called him Bookie. I says, you had to pay? He says, I paid $1. I says, but you're supposed to vote free. You don't have to pay. He says, well, if you're black and you wanted to vote, you had to pay. And they call it a poll tax. It's almost the same now. They use a voter identification. But that was the reason why. And I was, must have been about 10 or 11 years old. We lived in a housing project in Little Rock. Kids got to fighting. A guy pulled out a gun, shot the other kid, and knowing Al Allen, I always run to, never run away from. So these are examples of being at the right place at the right time. And there's more in the book as well.
So, Al, you don't sugarcoat anything. You talk about some harsh realities. I mean, he makes us laugh, but Al really has some hard-hitting social commentary in this book. Can you share a little bit of that with us, please?
You know, one of the things, and the viewers appreciate this, and I've taught, and I've got some interns who are going on to be successful, like Pam Moore is a San Francisco anchor queen. We got Kenan Oliphant, who is assistant news director in TV. They're just two of the interns I've had. There's been many more. But one of the things I stress as a journalist, one of the things you don't do, and we were taught this in school, you don't give your opinion. You keep your opinions to yourself. You are, as a journalist, in the first estate, you are a messenger, and you are delivering the message. You let the viewer or the listener or the reader decide what they like to say about it. Nowadays, we've gotten to the point of where everybody has an opinion. And you know what? It agitates the viewers and the readers because you are the comforter. You want to be the one in the chaos and confusion when you're talking about Donald Trump and his family and so forth. You want to do it in a calm manner. And you can't move your eyes, move your eyebrows and stuff like that. You just deliver it and you leave. And that is changing the way. But this is what we were taught. You just don't do that. Now you have commentators. That's their job, you know, to comment and give opinions and so forth. As a journalist, you don't do that. And the other thing is, if you are a journalist, and it was two of us who did it at Channel 2, myself and Bill Gallagher, he retired several years ago. We talk about sources. Would you, as a journalist, be willing to go to jail to protect your sources? Now, we tell people don't snitch, but would you risk that? I would. I would go to jail. You know, my sources were like my gold, my heart, and they had some great information. I would not tell on them. As a matter of fact, Bill Gallagher and I kept hygiene products in the locker in case we ever got locked up. But those are the things that we were taught, and we live by, live and die by that. And we see some changes in the industry, and I think that's one reason why I wrote this book, because I see changes I don't really care for, in my opinion, to a point. I said this last night on Let It Rip. There is some fake news out there. You find some journalists who want that 15 minutes of fame. You know, to be in front of the camera, that is hard work. You work 10, 12, 14 hours a day. You get insulted all the time. Am I right, Pam? You know, but this is what you do. You cannot leave until your story is finished. I don't care if it takes you 15 to 20 hours. You got to finish your story before you leave. I've had interns that say, Mr. Allen, can I go home? I said, no, we're not done with the story yet. We've been here 10 hours. Well, we may be here a little bit longer, you know. But those are some of the things we talk about, and some of the things we talk about in the book too as well.
Yes. So Al, what is your overall intention? What impact you want to have with your book?
You know what? Number one, I did not want to be mainstream. This is not a mainstream book. It's written in more declarative statements. Number two, it's short. It's less than 100 pages. And I found out people do not read 200-page books anymore. The shorter, the better. But you will, and I'll tell you this, you probably said, oh, he's trying to sell his book. You will get tired when you read certain sections of this book, because I'm telling it in a fast pace, and I want you, and I'm like talking to you, and I want you to understand what we're doing while we're doing it. And it's about the background, leading up to. You know, we see the finished product, you know, but you don't know what goes on prior to that. We talk about discrimination in our news business. We do have some problems in our own business, all right? We talk about, like I said before, the cold weather. And there's some, do you want to be a journalist? Fake news. Those are things we talk about. Also, as far as pictures are concerned, Elizabeth is my publisher. And I says, you know, the average book, all the pictures are in the middle of the book, okay? Why do they do that? I have pictures throughout the book. There are 18 photographs throughout the book. And there's one when I was a child, I didn't even know the picture existed. I was about 6, 7 years old. Elizabeth said, what were you doing? I said, I was on top of a chair. I don't know what I was doing. But anyway, that's what this book is about. And you're going to laugh, you're going to cry, and you're going to enjoy it. And you're going to read it more than once, because you say, oh, I missed that. I can go over it again. But I tell some stories that have never been told before. I was on the point of losing my job at WJLB because me and the program director did not get along. This guy was 65. I have a Napoleon complex at times because I'm about 5'5". He weighed about 300 pounds. In the wintertime, it could be 15 degrees. This man's sweating like it's 89, 100 degrees. He came to the station that day as a new program director. He went to the newsroom. As he was leaving, he says, I've been in radio a long time, but I've never known the news department to be more popular than the air personalities. We were number one. We had won more journalism awards in this town than anybody, all right? There's 6 and a half of us. And I said to myself, oh, Lord, we got trouble. Because he's my boss, all right? But we would have it out. I'd go in his office, we slam the door, we start cussing, and I'm like, how much your problem? This man will kick you all up and down this room. But I didn't care. Finally, he started cutting the staff. And sure enough, I was told, Al, you know, you better find something else to do, which I did. But that's all part of the book too as well. So it tells an awful lot in a short time as far as pages are concerned. I know you're going to enjoy the book.
So, Al, you are truly a trailblazer. This book is a tribute. I hope everyone can pick up an autographed copy. They're $25. Al will be in the back autographing. And let's give him a huge round of applause.
Thank you so much. I got my grandboys back there with me too, Evan and Andrew.
Thank you. And before you go, Al, NABJ would like to present you with this certificate for being a member of our author showcase. And do we have a photographer who's going to, and the interviewer too? Come up here.
Okay.
All right, Steve, can you take a picture?
I got you. Of course, I don't know how to do this, of course.
Trust me, I'm as bad as you.
1, 2, and